fixed port switches, which is a 9300 series. Let's look at this, the naming convention. The first two numbers represent the series. It could be a 93, 95, 63, 62, 64 is there, 77 is there. Yes, the first two numbers represent the series. It is a 9K 9300, 9K 9500, 7K 7700 fabric interconnect. So likewise, we have the first two represent the series and the family.
If you enjoyed the content of the video, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to our channel.
The next two are the three digits. What do they represent? That is either the number of ports or the number of ports in terms of 10 gig. What is the number of ports here? 54 ports. We have 54 ports here, but we call it 108. The reason is here it is 48, right? 48 into 10 gig, which is 480. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is 108 minus 48? 0. This is 6. 60 is there. This is 6 port, which means every port is 100 gig. Okay, now I'll explain. See, the first two represents the series. The next two or three should represent the number. Some models, it will plainly represent the number of the interfaces. So this model, they could have written as 9354, would have been easy for us. But here what they are doing is, instead of representing it with the help of the interfaces, they calculate the number of 10 gig interfaces. So up to this, you have 48 10 gig interfaces. Okay, 48 10 gig interfaces. Here, each of this interface is 100 gig, and you have 6 interface. So how many 10 gig interfaces you have here? You have 60 into 10 gig interfaces. Got it? If you add 60 plus 48, then you get 108. That is what they have mentioned here in terms of the 10 gig interfaces. T represents RJ45 copper cable. C represents the speed. C is 100 gig. Okay. FX, that's the ASIC type being used in the switch. So looking at a particular model, you can understand what it has. But I always recommend you to go to the product guide. So similarly, let's take this model 9348. So it's a 9300 plus 48 switches. G represents 400 gig, but I don't see any 400 gig here. No. D only represents 400 gig, guys. Okay. D represents 400 gig. C represents 100 gig. FX is the ASIC type. So that's the naming convention. Now what we are looking at is the copper RJ45 9300 series and switches. The total bandwidth, cloud scale. What is cloud scale? Whenever a Cisco says it is a cloud scale, then that means they are making use of their own ASIC, which is a 14 nanometer ASIC. The overall bandwidth throughput is there, and the interface capacity is also here. Copper. So this is RJ45. C represents 100 gig. That is a maximum for the spine interface, the fabric port. Okay, what we connect from the switch to the upstream spines. That's what we call the fabric port. The right hand corner is always a fabric port with the high capacity 100 gig high bandwidth ports. So here are fiber switches. Why that is represents the 25 gig interface, and it also has the C, which means it has 40 gig and 100 gig interfaces as well. So here are some models for your reference. We have the fiber, that is the SFP slots, SFP interfaced 9300 series switches, which is capable of handling 25 gig and 100 gig interfaces, and 180 is the number of 10 gig ports it has. I'll directly go to the 400 gig interfaces. So this you see, now it is the QSFP double density ports. Each capacity is a 400 gig. 16, you have to, no, let's look here better. How many ports? See, 8 ports of 400 gig, 8 into 400 plus 48 breakout port. So if this is the number of breakout ports, then I guess, okay, not to confuse you here, breakout port is configured as breakout from the double density interface. So here it is 8 into 400 is present. What is 8 into 400? 8 into 4 is 32. 3200 is alone, this bandwidth is getting from the 8 QSFP double density ports. But there is actually 6,000. I'll leave this calculation to you guys, okay? What I want to show from this is Cisco has many different varieties of the switches, especially in the 9300. Because for the 9500, there were only 3 different types of the chassis. For the 9300, this is the high-end variety where each of the interface is capable of handling 400 gig. And you can find it with the D. Okay. GX is the ASIC for the 400 gig model. There is FX ASIC for the 100 gig model. Okay. So that's this is pretty much to show you the figures of the various switches models that we have, the physical interfaces, just the pictorial representation of the different types of the models in the Nexus 9300 series, which is, so like I mentioned earlier, these could be used as spines also. Yes, this could be used as spines, even in ACI operating system. So, see this one, everything is a double. Look the model number here. It's a 9364D, which means 64 ports, everything capable of doing 400 gig capacity. Okay, so yes, with this we have finished our discussion on the Nexus 9K and the various components present inside the Nexus 9K.